What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review, and this time we're going to be taking a look at Bad Times at the El Royale, written and directed by Goddard and starring an all-star cast. That includes Jeff Bridges, Cynthia Erivo, if I mispronounced her name, I apologize, Dakota Johnson, John Hamm, Callie Spaney, if I pronounced that name wrong, I'm sorry, Lewis Pullman, and Chris Hemsworth. Oh man! All right, so I'm gonna try to keep this review very brief. I'm gonna try and not to give away too much because overall, I had a blast watching this movie. Goddard channeled his inner Quentin Tarantino, and he produced a very fun thriller movie. From the opening frame, the first thing that came to my mind is that this is going to be a Tarantino-like movie, and it played out just like a Tarantino movie would play. This is a loving homage to a Tarantino movie, and I thought Goddard did an excellent job with his direction. I think the screenplay is very witty. It's very sharp. You got good, colorful characters. To me, every actor has moments to shine. Though I think John Hamm's character is the one that, to me, is a little underutilized, especially when you find out what happens to his character at the before we get to the hour mark of the movie. But aside from that, everyone, even though John Hamm's character to me is a little underutilized, he's still very memorable, and he has a lot of funny lines, and he has a lot of funny lines to him as well. And that's another thing I like about this movie. This movie's got a good sense of humor to it. In addition to the colorful characters, every character has a distinct backstory that all ties in together, and they give explanations as to why they're in this seedy hotel. So and I like how all these storylines, all these 7 different storylines, they all, again, they intertwine with one another, and it's done in a way where it's still cohesive and you're never lost. There's this one moment in the movie where we're seeing a moment play out, but we're seeing it from several different perspectives, which is a very Tarantino thing to do. Tarantino is known for seeing an event play out from several different perspectives, and I think Goddard did that expertly. Yes, I cannot get over the fact that this is a Tarantino-esque movie. I mean, Goddard really shows that that Tarantino was a heavy influence on him. All right, now let's talk about let's talk about the characters now. Let's talk about the actors. Like I said, every actor in this movie brings their A game. You got Jeff Bridges, who plays a man posing as a priest, and he's awesome. I love Jeff Bridges. I loved him in this movie. I thought he was great. I love the relationship he and Cynthia Erivo's character, Darlene, form. It starts off shaky, but then as the movie progresses, it turns into a mutual partnership and eventual friendship between the two. There's a mutual respect that goes on between the two. At first, she's very hesitant about this man because she can see right through him. But as the movie progresses, you can see that you can see a friendship and a mutual respect formed between the two, which I thought was really well handled. Really like that a lot. Speaking of character Darlene, she's a singer who happens to be at the El Royale because she has a gig in Reno, and I like her character, and like I said, a lot of her character moments comes with Jeff Bridges. So her being linked up with Jeff Bridges was, to me, a good idea, and the fact that Jeff Bridges takes a quick liking to her is also really cool as well. We have Dakota Johnson's character, who's a character called Emily. Her whole deal is that she's trying to save her sister Rosie from the Chris Hemsworth character, who is pretty much playing a guy called Billy Lee, who is a sexy Charles Manson. That's Chris Hemsworth's character. He's a sexy Charles Manson, and he did a good job playing this charismatic Charles Manson-like cult leader. I thought he had a lot of good moments, and I like his flashback scene where we actually see him talking to his family in the woods, which is such a Manson-esque scene. It's such a Manson-esque scene, and it's very Manson-like dialogue. I really like it. I really enjoyed it a lot. John Hamm's character, he's a vacuum cleaner salesman, but secretly he's part of the FBI. He's at the El Royale trying to do a little FBI mission. Of course, it all gets revealed of what exactly is going on here as well. But like I said, I want to try and keep the spoilers very minimal. I don't want to go too deep into them. But I like but when John Hamm is posing as the vacuum cleaner salesman, the first 10 minutes when he's interacting with Darlene and the priest is hilarious. Him just doing his spiel. You got Louis Pullman, who plays a character called Myers, who's like the concierge. He's hilarious in that scene as well. And I like Miles' his little storyline all throughout. Like throughout the movie, he's trying to confess his sins to the priest, and when it's revealed that he's not a priest, you can see the disappointment in his face. But when he's on his boat, but at the end of the movie, Jeff Bridges' character and Louis Pullman's character, they have a nice tender moment with a nice tender, a very emotional moment, very heartfelt moment with one another, which I thought was pretty cool and really well handled. Let's see what else. So yes, those from the characters and the acting, all that stuff is great. This movie is beautifully directed once again. Like I said, it's very Tarantino-esque. The cinematography is fantastic. Seamus McGarvey and Drew Goddard really captured that 1969 setting with the costumes, with the music, with the set design. The movie looks fantastic. It all takes place in the hotel. I like it a lot. This movie also has that classic disjointed Tarantino storytelling where everything is done out of sequence, which is what I like. As well. We get these little flashbacks that give us a history of all these 7 characters and all the events that led to them being at the El Royale. I thought all that stuff was well handled. We find out that that the priest is actually a bank robber. We find out that Darlene was let go from her music label because she refused to do certain things with the music producer. So now she's just working for a pay. Now she's just taking gigs at any moment she can do. It's revealed in these little flashbacks that John Hamm's character is part of the FBI. We find out exactly what Billy Lee did to Emily and Rosie, which led to them being at the El Royale and him finding them at said hotel. So, yeah, those flashbacks are very important to the movie. It all culminates, to my opinion, into a very satisfying climax, which I like a lot. This is not an action movie. This movie is very dialogue heavy, but it's good dialogue, and it's very interesting dialogue. And seeing these characters interact is where this movie's at a strong point. And to me, the cast just has a lot of good chemistry with one another. Like I said, there were some cast members I thought could deserve a little bit more screen time. Like I said, I think John Hamm's character could deserve a little more screen time, and I would have at least kept his character in there until the very end of the movie instead of doing what they did with him very early on. To me, that was actually a big letdown because I was liking John Hamm's character in general. But the movie makes up for it with the Louis Pullman character, with the priest, with the relationship between Darlene and the priest, and the stuff with Billy Lee and the 2 sisters. The movie handles all that stuff very, very well. That I can forgive the stuff they did with John Hamm, and know that it's more tightly written. It's very and it's just a very fun ride. It's a fun movie, and if you have not seen Bad Times at the El Royale, you should give it a watch. Oh yeah, so that's my bare bones review of this movie. At the end of the day, I really enjoyed Bad Times at the El Royale. It is a Tarantino homage. Drew Goddard did an excellent job with it, and my final grade is going to be a solid 9 out of 10. If you have not seen this movie, go out and watch it. Especially if you're a Tarantino fan and respect and like that kind of film, you're gonna like this movie. You're gonna really enjoy Bad Times at the El Royale. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Bad Times at the El Royale. If you like or if you've seen this movie, let me know down below. If you haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend you give it a watch. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.